Product attributes are used to identify the additional details that you want to maintain for your products. They provide additional information that your organization might want to record for a particular product or category of products. You can think of it as a way to add new fields to be tracked for a particular product without development work. One benefit of using attributes is that they are dynamic based on the category you put them in. So for example, if you sold some apparel items and wanted to track information about the type of product, you could add attributes to the apparel products. However, you also sell some food products, and tracking fabric information on a food product would not be beneficial. So you could add attributes to track nutritional information that would only be tracked on the food products. Attributes cannot be added directly to an item, so you must assign them to categories. When you use the retail product category hierarchy, you can also use attribute groups to make the maintenance quicker and easier. Let's switch over to AX and take a look at the process of setting up and assigning attributes. I'm going to go back to the Product Information Management module, and underneath the Setup folder, right below the Categories folder, you'll notice there's an Attributes folder. In the Attributes Type field is where we're going to start. Attribute types are a prerequisite to creating attributes. The attribute type defines the input or type of information that will be tracked. So for my apparel items, I want to track whether or not they have sleeves. The has sleeves attribute is going to be a Boolean because it's a checkbox. Either the apparel item has sleeves or it does not. My next attribute example I will create is for whether or not or what type of sleeves the shirt has. So I create another one called Sleeve Types. In the Type drop-down box, I'm going to select that this is a text, which is the default, and mark the fixed list, because I don't want users to be manually typing in values. I want them to pick from a predefined list. So I click the Add button on the Values Fast tab and type in some values, such as short sleeve and long sleeve. You can use the up and down arrows on this form to move the options up and down. For example, if I wanted long sleeve to show up first in the list, I can use the Move Up button to move it up in the list. When the users select the options, they will appear in this sequence. Next, we'll create attributes. When you open the Attributes form, which is found in Product Information Management underneath Setup and then Attributes, you must create one attribute for each type of information. In my last example, I created an attribute called Has Sleeves. Now, I could have created a generic attribute called Checkbox that could have been reused multiple times. However, because I made one that was specific, I'm going to create a new attribute and link it to the Has Sleeves attribute type that we just created. On the right-hand side, in the Attribute Type drop-down box, I select the attribute type that I just created. The default value allows me to select whether I want the value to default to yes or no. I'm going to leave mine unchecked so that it will default to no. I'll create a second attribute for the sleeve type. On the Attribute Type drop-down box on the right, I will select the Sleeve Type attribute that we just created. Now that I've created some attribute types and attributes, the final step is to create attribute groups. Attribute groups allow me to group multiple attributes together. So in my example, I created two attributes that are specific to shirts. So I'll create a new attribute group called Shirts and add the two attributes that we just created. On the lower half of the form in the Attributes Fast tab, I'll click Add and select the two attributes we created. I do this by marking the checkbox to the left. So there's my has sleeves. If I continue to scroll through the list, I'll find my sleeve type. And then use the select button to move them to the lower half. Once the attributes I want are in the lower half of the form, I click OK. Now this attribute group can be added to a category. Let me show you how to do that now. The category hierarchy can be found in either procurement and sourcing or the retail module. So for my example, I'm going to use the procurement category by going to procurement and sourcing, setup, categories, procurement categories. Here you can see the hierarchy of all the different products. If I wanted to add my attributes to a specific category, you select the category, and then on the right, if you go down to the Product Attributes tab, you can add in the list of attributes that you want to apply. I'll show you how to do this for the retail hierarchy as well. This is done from Retail, and then Setup, Category Hierarchies, and then Retail Product Hierarchy. Here I've got some categories. I'll choose the apparel category, and we'll do children's shirts as my example. Maximize this so we can see a little better. And then over on the right, there's a fast tab called Product Attribute Groups. Here is where I'll add in the shirts category that we just created. You mark the checkbox to the left and then click Select. You'll notice over on the right-hand side when you select one, you can see which attributes are a part of the category you've selected. I'll click OK. And now you can see which product attribute group is added. If you use the View Attributes button, you can see the detailed individual attributes, has sleeves, and sleeve types that were selected and created for our attribute group. Now we have finished the setup. Let us create a new product and apply the category and enter values for our attributes.